What up, guys? This is Dedrian Colon from House of Wrestling, and I'm giving you guys the AEW Rampage and Smackdown review for January 14th, 2022. Yes, it's a Friday, and I'm going to change things up with this review and probably in the future reviews. Instead of just going through the whole cards, because I'm doing two shows and everything, instead of going through the whole show, promos, and everything like that, I'm just going to narrow it down to my pros and cons of each show and give a synopsis of just the whole night and everything, just to get it shorten it up and everything, because man, doing two shows back to back and reviewing it and going through the whole cards, that is very draining. And I did that Saturday with the Battle of the Belts and Hardcore Hard to Kill. So yeah, that was a lot. So I'm shortening it down and everything, but it's gonna be fun. But yeah, tonight was a very fun night. It was entertaining. If you wanted to come home and chill and just relax and just have a nice night of wrestling that was fun, you can sit back, order a pizza or something like that. I know some parts of the country they're anticipating big storms and stuff like that. This was a perfect night that had fun wrestling. It wasn't an all-time high and oh my god, let me check, what happened, the surprise or anything like that. But it was so much fun. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed this night more than Wednesday and Monday night. It was just fun. It was fun, and it didn't build up this anticipation and just have any repetition or anything of some sorts. But it was just fun. So yeah, I'm gonna start with SmackDown. And before I do that, I do want to start off with this. If you watch this video, and once this video finishes, then you watch these two recommendations. You have to watch the Roman Reigns Seth Rollins promo at the end of SmackDown, and you have to watch the Acclaimed music video that aired on AEW Rampage. Those two things you have to watch. Very entertaining. But yeah, getting back to SmackDown, one of the pros for me was the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match with the, whoever wins goes on to face the Usos. What was pretty interesting was that the Usos came out, and it was okay for at some point, and it was a mix. For me, it was just, a mixed reaction to it, because at first I was like, oh man, they're giving a promo, okay, cool. But then they started introducing it, and I'm like, man, why are they introducing their potential opponents? It's like, man, it's kind of, all right, let's just get to the match. Yeah, it was just real interesting. It was funny how the Usos were doing it, but it was just the whole, just the psychology of, okay, why are they introducing, that was kind of just hard to, grasp and everything. But the Usos were funny to introduce. I loved it. But yeah, that match, it was a very fun match. All these guys got their stuff in. Oh, it was good to see these guys getting highlighted in such a match with stakes. The Viking Raiders. You had Cesaro and Mansoor. You had Humberto and Angel. And you had Jinder Mahal and Shanky. And it was kind of funny because as soon as they announced Jinder Mahal and Shanky, everyone's like, man, they came to SmackDown before Veer appeared on Raw, which is hilarious when you think about how long they've been, promoting that promo. Veer's coming, Veer's coming, Veer's coming. It's like, dude, you've been saying it since October, and it's January. Like, is he coming? But yeah, that was a really fun match. The Viking Raiders won. There was a lot of great moves in this match. It was fun. It was fast paced. Again, I liked it because all these guys got an opportunity to, one, be on TV, get a good match in, get some exposure, and they were the opening match. So they were the match that set the tone for the rest of the show. And that was pretty cool, and I loved it. And I'm happy for the Viking Raiders, and I really look forward to that match between the Viking Raiders and the Usos. I was a fan of their work in New Japan Pro Wrestling, that of the Viking Raiders when they were the War Machine. They were so good, especially with their feud with Davey Boy Smith and Lance Archer. Man, those were some good matches. But yeah, this match is going to be pretty cool. I like the contrast in styles. Um, the Viking Raiders are more power and agility. The Usos, they're rough, rugged, feisty. They could do the high flying moves and everything, but just more the cruiserweight style, so to speak. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. Let's see what that happens. The other pro of this, and I loved it. It was good to see Lita return to SmackDown. It's been a while since he's been there, but man, it was so good to see her. She looks phenomenal. She looks in tremendous shape and everything. I look forward to seeing her in the Royal Rumble, and whoever else may be a surprise. That was a pro for that segment, because that segment, uh, Charlotte came out, and I'll talk about that in the cons. Because yes, that from the moment Charlotte came to interrupt Lita, that's when it just like, okay, yeah, not a big fan of. And lastly, again, getting back to the Seth Rollins Roman Reigns promo, leading up to the final, they were the final segment of SmackDown. WWE was airing these video packages going back to their history and the Shield, and just when Seth Rollins turned on him, when Roman Reigns was looking to win the title against Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins cashed in, and the jabs that they were throwing. Oh man, this was so good. I commend whoever wrote this, because this was so good. And what made it so great because there was such a history, a rich history with these guys. They were former teammates. Kind of the old saying that they had, the old tagline that they had for the Shawn Michaels Diesel match at In Your House before Diesel left to WCW in '96. Good friends, better enemies. And oh man, that was so good. You know, Roman Reigns is throwing shots. I'm a top dog. That fist bump is beneath me. Seth Rollins is, I created you and I could destroy you. And the one line that Roman Reigns said, and he's like, if I wanted to fight a top star, I would have chose your wife. Whoo, whoo, man, oh man, that was those are fighting words. And of course that segment ended with the Usos coming out and Seth Rollins evading them and everything, which I love because I haven't seen that type of Seth Rollins. You could say right before he broke away from the Shield, when the Shield were actually faces, because it was pretty cool. It's like, whoa, I haven't seen that Seth Rollins in a long time, and it was fun. I'm looking forward to where this goes with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, especially Seth Rollins, just to see where they go. You could see that tonight, maybe there were some seeds planted with the possible Seth Rollins face turn, maybe, because the crowd was cheering for him because the way he was evading, it was like, ooh man, it's really cool. So we'll see what happened, but yeah, with that, the cons of SmackDown, the Naomi Sonya Deville segment, it's been going on for a very long time. The tone and just the subtle, maybe they didn't mean it, but it's coming across very racial and everything, even though no, it's because you stormed in here, and it's like you have a white woman in authority being very condescending and very opportunistic of taking things away from Naomi, who's a black woman. Read the room and the optics. That doesn't sit well, and it just I think it's just to the point where start fighting, like get to the match already, start fighting. Look, she's not, Sonya Deville eventually is going to get back in the ring. Speed up that process already, because you're dragging it out too long. And of course Sonya made the line tonight, when you see me with this jacket, I'm authority. And of course, they were using some lame excuse to the temperature was hotter or what have you, and she takes her jacket off, and Naomi comes back in and is like, "Oh, well, you said that if you uh, don't have the jacket on, if you have the jacket on, you have authority, but you don't have the jacket on, so I guess you're open game." And I don't know, Adam Pearce broke it up, but it was just, I don't know, I think it's just time, like, get to the fight already, like, quit dragging it out already. Like, Sonya Deville has had enough time to be so condescending where you want to see Naomi beat her up. That's the object of the game. You know, the point of the storyline. You want to see the fight already. Sonya Deville has done her part. Naomi has done her part already. Like, get to it already. Yeah, it's just wasn't a con. It was a con for me of the show. I just wasn't a big fan of it. Because it's been going on for so long. It's like, come on, just get to it. Another con was the getting back to the Lita Charlotte promo. Um, Charlotte is going back and forth with Lita. And one thing that I didn't like about the segment was, if you watch Lita back in her heyday, 99 to 2005 and everything, she really didn't give a lot of promos. She would say her word and everything because, of course, she was with Matt and Jeff Hardy, and they would say their things, and then she'd say her word, and boom, that was it. She never really gave these long monologue promos, and I just thought it was weird, and just like, it didn't fit to what Charlotte's. It just didn't correlate or anything. It was just like, it was a lot of time where Charlotte would say something, and then there's like nobody say anything. Then Lita says something, nobody says anything. Then it was just like, no, that just doesn't work. Lita just says one thing and just starts, kicking ass and everything, and that just, yeah, it just took away from that segment. It didn't take away from watching Lita in the Royal Rumble, and her, of course, she's saying she's got one more run left. So I'm looking forward to that because she can do some great work. She was in the first Women's Royal Rumble. She did a great job and everything. So let's see where she goes. It's unfortunate that they released so many women, because you could have had so many dream matches, with Lita. But let's see where it goes. I'm looking forward to it. I was a huge fan of hers when she was wrestling in her heyday and everything, because she was doing some very innovative stuff, and a lot of people don't give her credit for being a pioneer for a lot of these aerial moves that a lot of women perform today. Like, she was an inspiration to a lot of women, especially AJ Lee, because that picture's on the internet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Lita involvement in the Royal Rumble. Another con of SmackDown was Kofi Kingston losing to Madcap Moss, who was dressed in suspenders and short shorts. I don't know where this feud is going. It's concerning me how WWE has booked Big E and how they booked Kofi Kingston. Of course, this week, Xavier Woods revealed that he's going to be out for at least 4 to 6 weeks, which doesn't help anything, because he really had a lot of momentum with that King Xavier gimmick. Of course, Kofi just came back from injury, and it's just concerning how they're booking Big E and Kofi. These are former world champions, and they're just losing, and it's not fun anymore. And of course, in the last few weeks, with it's been a hot topic as far as how African American wrestlers are used in professional wrestling. Of course, the conversation started in AEW, but of course, it's, when you can't just talk about one company. You have to, look at every company, and it's really, concerning. Especially how everything went with Big E and Brock Lesnar at the day one. Big E lost clean, and I don't know. It's just very concerning how they're booking Kofi and Big E, and Kofi lost clean. I don't know. It's concerning. I hope it's not something that's going to be, a continuous pattern for long stretches for the rest of this year, or a few months, because if these guys start losing matches continuously, then that momentum that they've had, you're cutting it off. And especially Biggie, with all the appearances he was doing with the WWE Championship on the Breakfast Club, the college football game at Iowa State that he was hosting, the UFC and boxing matches that he was, coming out with the participants in those events. It's really concerning. And of course, the Madcap Moss Baron Corbin gimmick, like, man, you know what? I would say the Madcap Moss Baron Corbin segment is equivalent to Dan Lambert promos in AEW, where it's just like, oh God, I don't want this anymore. Like me personally, and again, this is not a shot at these wrestlers or anything, but if this is what creative has for these guys, you need to fire creative. Like, I know that's a harsh thing to say, but it's bad. Like, Baron Corbin came out with such a badass gimmick in Smackdown. And Madcap, Riddick Moss had an awesome look in NXT. And you give him this corny, like, B-movie 90s horrible joke. Like, they act like Nickelodeon villains or something like that. It's just corny. I hope they get something better. But yeah, that was a con. The whole thing was a con. Something that I just did not care for on tonight's SmackDown. The Sami Zayn, Rick Boosh, Shinsuke Nakamura segment. The Jack, again, another segment where it's just like, okay, what's the point of this? Sami Zayn is making fun of Johnny Knoxville being in the Royal Rumble, and he's got this jackass stunt set up and everything, and he's stop, whoa, stop, and all it leads to is Shinsuke Nakamura kicking him in the ring. Like, Shinsuke hasn't even defended the title regularly, on SmackDown, so it's just like, oh, man, come on, man, this is like, Sami Zayn is better than this. Like, Shinsuke Nakamura was a former WWE champion, and he's doing this. Like, come on, this is ridiculous. And that's pretty much it for SmackDown. For AEW, the pros, man, this was a good show. And I know if you watch my review for AEW Dynamite, I did not like Dynamite. I did not like the pacing. I did not like the flow. I did not like the tone. It felt very repetitive. Creatively, it just felt stale to me. It did not have that grit, intensity, just that passion. It just felt like it was on autopilot. But tonight, ironically, was actually, I enjoyed a lot better than Dynamite. And that's that Rampage is filmed right after Dynamite. So I don't know what 180 they did, or maybe it was a break or something with the crowd, because the crowd was quiet. And that's actually two shows this week that I've noticed the Raw crowd and the Dynamite crowd were quiet. And again, it's a 50-50. I don't fault the crowd because the creative was very lackluster. But then at the same time, it's like, you kind of like gotta go to these cities where it's hot. And I don't know, I guess it's one of those weeks where it was tough. But yeah, this AEW Rampage show, I really enjoyed it. The opening match between Adam Cole and Trent Berreta, loved it. I kind of wish it would have been the main event, if anything. But I see why they had Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds as the main event. It was a pretty good match. I wouldn't say it was a pro, something that I would like. It's not something, I wouldn't say it was, just, oh my God, it's a con. I just didn't care for it. It was okay. It was all right. It wasn't oh my God, it's amazing, and it was like, oh my God, it's terrible. It's just, hey, it is what it was. It was a nice match for Jurassic Express to, defend their tag team championships. I kind of personally would have wished this would have been on Dark Elevation of some sorts, but to each its own. Whatever AEW is doing right now, creatively, I hope they get it together, because for the last few weeks it has felt a little bit stale. And of course, it doesn't help with, I'm going to regard to it as the New Year's Eve tweet by Tony Khan. Again, it still feels, even though tonight was good, they're just, any mention of AEW, there's just this cloud over AEW. Like, this is, man, I can't, kind of an awkwardness. There you go. I was going to say uneasy. That's not a correct word. There's like an awkwardness because of everything that transpired with that tweet on New Year's Eve. And, yeah, like I said on Wednesday, I hope whatever energy they kind of like let go because of that, I hope they recapture it and bring it back. It does, like, the passion, that intensity, that fire, everything is clicking. All the segments are clicking and everything. It's been a while since a Dynamite has had a complete flow. It's like, whoa, this was an amazing show. With the exception of Daniel Bryan's matches and maybe CM Punk segments or something like that, it's been, and of course an Adam Cole match. Other than that, it's just been all right. So we'll see. But yeah, the first match between Adam Cole and Trent Berreta, it was really cool to see Adam Cole, like the way AEW's positioning Adam Cole, like they are putting him, I hope people are paying attention. They are putting him in a major spot where once Kenny Omega comes back, he is going to feud with him, because Adam Cole had the Young Bucks, he had Brandon Cutler, he had Britt Baker, which was an awesome moment on Dynamite on Wednesday. She finally on screen joined Adam Cole and everything. So now you have Britt Baker and Rebel with Adam Cole. So it was pretty cool. The Best Friends and Chris Statlander, I believe she was there. Like, they came down. Like, it was so much fun. It was fun. It was a fun opening match. Trent Berreta and Adam Cole, really great chemistry. Really great chemistry. Adam Cole, his matches so far in AEW have been very entertaining and very fun. It's nice work. Nice work. Love it. Don't change it, Adam. Don't change it. Another pro was, again, like I said, you need to watch the Roman Reigns Seth Rollins promo, and you need to watch this Acclaimed music video. This was so creative. Some of the bars and everything and the lyrics, it's like, all right, I get where Max Caster's coming from and everything, but overall, the whole message toward Darby Allin and Sting was hilarious. Two guys, what was it? He said, two guys trying to be goth bros. Oh God, it's so funny. He mentions the buckle bomb about Sting, and it's like, oh my God, these guys are goofy. I like it because you can tell that the Acclaimed are very creative, and I think showing that music video, it kind of shows that AEW has a lot of creativity. And I think I mentioned this a few weeks back, that maybe, and now we're starting to see that AEW is at the crossroads where it's like, okay, the guys that you were depending on the first 2 years, they really haven't either stepped up or stepped down. They're just there. It's like you got some other guys that are very creative, and it's like you need to start putting them out there. Like, you can't try to get people over. Like, maybe it's just their time to go to another place and get their craft. Maybe they need just a fresh, place to go to, and hey, see how it works out there. But yeah, the Acclaimed are very creative, very talented. A lot of their stuff they got over when they weren't signed with AEW, which led to them being signed. So Yeah, check that music video out. I thought it was freaking hilarious. I know some people might, but yeah, for me it was fun. That was the highlight of the night for Rampage. I loved it. And also in the ring, these guys are pretty good. The Acclaimed are pretty good. Um, Honestly, if you really think about it, they kind of have like this new age outlaws vibe to them, where they're yeah, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. They kind of have that vibe. It's not to the full extent, but you could see the vibe that they have, where it's like, man, okay, there's something here. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they win the tag team titles um, this year. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind a feud with the Acclaimed versus FTR or Santana and Ortiz, because the Acclaim can work. Anthony Bowens is a really good worker. Max Caster is a really good worker. They're really good sellers. I enjoyed most of the matches that they've had. I didn't care too much for the match that they had with Bear Country. It just didn't fit for both teams. Like, it just, of course, it was contrasting styles, but it was it was contrasting styles that really didn't mesh. Like, there wasn't no power, strength, and like David Goliath, or powerhouse and technical, who can counter who. It was just like, it just did not mesh. Another pro was the trios women's match. I enjoyed this women's match. I've been saying it for a while. They need to put most of these women in all the factions that they have, because one thing that I noticed that WWE did back in the 90s that was pretty smart was they had most of the women in factions, which means you could put them on TV and you can interchange matches, because a mixed tag match with Stephanie and Triple H versus China and Eddie Guerrero or something like that, and you can, or China and Stephanie, like, you can prolong feuds because you have a mix of men and women in factions where it balances out. But yeah, this match was pretty cool. I tweeted this. I wish they would have had the Layla Hirsch, Chris Statlander, Red Velvet storyline on Dynamite, because that is a really cool storyline, because Layla Hirsch is always getting the pinfall wins, and they're like, hey, like, you're trying to, like, she's trying to get the spotlight, which is a really cool storyline. It's refreshing for the women's tag team, or the women's division. It's fresh. It's something that you really haven't seen a lot of in AEW's women's division. Well, you haven't seen a lot of AEW's women's division because just how it's been laid out and everything in the last, the first 2 years. But I like this match. It was fun. There's a spot. Here's the other thing you need to check out. You need to check out the spot where Chris Statlander, she had Penelope Ford, and almost like a backwards chicken wing move, if you remember that move, and she reversed it into a submission hold. Like, the way the continuity and the fluidity of changing from one move to the next. Chris Statlander, I salute you. That was amazing. Check that out, people, because it was great. The cons, and it's funny I'm mentioning the cons of, okay, that's the con, like pros and cons, not Khan, Tony Khan, Nick Khan, none of that. The cons, mostly for me, was the editing. That it just felt like a lot of these segments normally have, give it some breath to, to the viewer, so you can, enjoy the moment. It would just cut right away to a video package, and then, like, it was just like real, like, quick. Like, it didn't give you, you got enough of the segment, but you didn't get, like, absorbed. Like, ooh, okay, man, I can't wait for this. But other than that, I mean, it was a really good Rampage. I enjoyed it more than Dynamite. Again, I hope Tony Khan and the rest of the AEW staff, they recognize, that some fans do see, like, there's some, like, cloud of awkwardness with AEW since that New Year's Eve tweet. He hasn't apologized. Unfortunate. But hey, that's his choice. He feels he's right in what he did. But yeah, I hope they fix whatever energy, aura, whatever it is. Like they need to fix it because it's you could sense the awkwardness there. But other than that, it was a really good night of wrestling. I enjoyed it. Again, check out those segments. Check out the Roman Reigns Seth Rollins promo, the Acclaimed music video, and the Chris Statlander spy. I don't know what the hell to call it, but she did an amazing counter that led to a submission hold that was just amazing. Check that out. Those three videos, check them out, and they are on WB and AEW social media. But yeah, that is my review for AEW Rampage and Smackdown for January 14th, 2022. Like, share, comment, follow House of Wrestling on all social media platforms. Follow me on TikTok at Dedrian180. That's DEDRIAN 180. Yeah, it was a fun night. Thank you guys. Thank you to all the subscribers, the followers, everyone. Thank you for making House of Wrestling just a continued success. I'm enjoying doing this by the viewers and the subscribers that we're getting. It's fun. Thank you guys. Again, this is my review for AEW Dynamite and WWE SmackDown. I am Dedrian Colon. This is the House of Wrestling.